Hey there, and welcome. Welcome to, well, I'm actually doing a Facebook Live, but I'm going to run it over to my YouTube channel afterwards. And my YouTube channel is called In Him You Win. But yeah, I'm Larry, and I'm here to, want to talk with you today. I kind of titled this little message, You Run Your Race. And I want to share with you how not to allow your critics to get the best of you. Okay? And let me start out by telling you a little story about me when I was growing up. I reckon I was about 9, 10 years old, maybe a little bit older than that. But, you know, my first few jobs were always like cutting grass and stuff. Well, that was the only job. Cutting grass. I'd cut... Oh, excuse me. My first few jobs was cutting grass. And I'd cut grass, you know, I had about 2 or 3 people that would let me cut grass every other weekend at their house. I'd get a little bit of money, buy candy, gum, stuff like that, right? But one day, I actually got a real job. And what was my real job? Man, I was going to be a newspaper carrier. So yeah, after Wednesdays after class, every other Wednesday, I would walk throughout my neighborhood. You know, we had a little subdivision, and I'd throw out newspapers. It's called the Jacksonville Shopper. I might get in trouble for that. I hope not. Anyway, I'd throw these papers out, and it was 302 papers that I'd throw out every other Wednesday. And man, I used to be so happy because at the end of the month, I'd get my little check. $28. I mean, it was a big thing for me to get a check. Because, I mean, I ain't used to getting no check. I'm official now. I've joined the workforce. So anyway, I got this little $28 check at the end of each month. And I managed to save up enough to buy a bicycle. It was a used bicycle. And a friend of my dad's had posted a bicycle in the kind of like Craigslist of those days. And he wanted $105 for it. Now, thanks, you know, to the fact that my dad knew him, then he sold it to me for $60. So I bought that bike. And it was nice, too. I remember it's a 10-speed Western Flyer, 10-speed. And it was immaculate. And I really took good care of that bike. You know, I kept it shined up, of course. And I eventually bought a generator light. That's where you got the little deal where you have a light on the front and a light on the back. Got the little generator that you put on the tire, and then it spins around with the tire. So guess what? The faster that you go, the brighter the light gets. I couldn't wait till nighttime because all my friends would be watching, and here comes Larry. Larry's coming through, and I just give it everything I got, just fast as I could. Incidentally, I also had bought a speedometer for my bike. You know, you remember them days, huh, Dennis? Glory to God. I bought a speedometer, and I just race on through Belfort Homes. I mean, we'll put it on out there, right? Just race on through there, and my friends be like, man, it was really bright this time, really bright. So, I said all that to say this. On the side of all that enjoyment that I had with my bike, there were these group of guys in school that, I don't know, they just never had something good to say about me. You know? They just pick on me night and day. I mean, whether we were on the bus going to school, whether we were at lunch, whether we were coming home from school, whether we were in class, whenever they saw me, they just had negative things to say and just kind of picking. And there was this one particular dude that, you know, he was the scrawniest one of the whole bunch. But, dog, that dude had so much mouth. I mean, he always running off his mouth like, what in the world? And like I said, I would have these thoughts come to my mind occasionally. And I'd be like, look here. If I ever get this dude to himself without being around all his buddies, man, I will jack him up. I will show him ain't nothing to him, right? Whew, I wasn't a Christian then, okay? Thank you, Lord. Y'all pray for me. Pray for me. Hey. but anyway, so one day, you know, they knew I had this nice bike. Never had nothing good to say about my bike, but they knew I was like cruising. And one day, he came to me and he said, look, I want to challenge you in a bike race. See, I was thinking, now is my opportunity. Now I'm going to show everybody there ain't nothing to this dude. He said, would you accept my bike challenge, my bike race challenge? I said, yeah. So we set it up. It's going to be 3 o'clock, Saturday, 3 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, thank you, Lord. It's going to be good. I get to let him know who's who around here. So 3 o'clock came and I headed on out there. And really, to my surprise, it was like he had, you know, all his boys, all the dudes that he hung with. And then a whole lot of people that lived in our neighborhood and from the school, they all came out to watch the bike race. I was like, I didn't expect all this. But okay, I'll do this thing. Because I'm going to show everybody all at one time that ain't nothing to this dude with all this lip. Huh? So they explained to me that the way we're going to do it, Now, let me remind you also, there's a big tree at the end of the road. We're going to start at a certain point. It's a telephone pole. And this big old evergreen tree was right on the corner of Carver Road and Cole Drive for some of y'all who was back there in the day. And so they explained to me, okay, you got to ride the bike, and then when you get to the corner, go ahead and turn the corner, and then, keep on going until you get to the finish line. Okay, sounds cool. So we locked in there, and we started. I think they blew a whistle or something. Blew the whistle, and we're on our way. And man, we're like neck and neck, and I'm like thinking in my mind, I got to show this dude, I got to show everybody that this dude is just a whole lot of lip. So when we're racing. About at the halfway point, I realized I started to pull ahead. And I just I felt so much adrenaline going, you wouldn't believe it. Adrenaline and everything. So I pulled out in front of him to the point that when we got close to the corner, because when we get to the corner, we got to do a little turn, I couldn't even see him out of the side of my eye. I'm like, hey, this thing is looking all right. So I'm really giving it extra effort and going on, and I turned that corner, and all of a sudden, boom, I hit something. What was that? I hit something that caused me to come up off the bike, and my bike to fly into the woods, and then I hit the ground. I ain't telling you who it was, Dennis. No, man, I ain't gonna do that. Anyway, I hit the ground, and I got all scraped up and everything. And I was like, what in the world happened here? See, what had happened, remember I told you that from the starting line, we couldn't see where the finish line was because it was behind the big old evergreen tree on the corner. Well, so what they did is that they had two guys at the finish line, and they had a little string fishing line that they had strung all the way across the road. Now, okay. And they had it real tight. So how many of you know that when you wide open on a bike and everything, you ain't thinking about no fishing line in the middle strung across the road, right? More or less, you can't see it either. But it turns out I got wiped out. They did that on purpose. It cut me right across here, right across my triceps. It cut me, and it just took me off the bike. And then the bike, like I said, went flying one direction, and I went flying in the air, and then I hit the ground. And I got all scraped up pretty bad. Man, I was upset over that thing. I was like, that is cruel. How many can say that's cruel? Can you say that's cruel? That was just purity ugly. But I was like, okay, how did I get myself into this situation? Then I began to kind of think back about the fact that what I did, and this is what I want to encourage you not to do when your critics are coming against you saying a bunch of crazy stuff. What I did is that I allowed the noise of my critics to get on the inside of me. That's exactly what happened. Because they're taunting every day, just talking junk, and especially this one little dude. And so finally, I let that thing get in me, and my motive became, I got to set the record straight. I got to hush his mouth. That was wrong. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 58. 1 Corinthians 15, 58, let me read it to you. It says, therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. So see, I wasn't being steadfast. I wasn't being immovable. I had allowed the voice of my critics to get me off of my game. And that's what I'm coming on today, just real quick to encourage you not to do. You don't want to do that, right? All right, so let me read it like I got it right here. Don't let someone else's bullying or taunting, which is basic hater activity, right? Don't let that provoke you and get you down on their level. See, it's kind of like if you're going to play a team, you know I'm Carolina back, okay? I'm just North Carolina Tar Heels back. Skill, man, that's who I am, right? But if we're going to play a team that's pretty competitive, then if we had our choice, we would choose to let them come to our school and play, right? As opposed to us going to their school. Why? Because when you go to their school, then you're on their turf. They have the home court advantage. That's what happens when we internalize what critics or haters are saying about us. When we internalize it and we're going to go toe-to-toe with them, then we're really getting on their level, on their playing field, and they have an advantage there. I got wiped out. Bro, Dennis, you said it was pride. I don't know about pride, man. I don't know. I just had to do something, man, because every day I can't even eat my lunch. I'm trying to eat my little milk, and it got special day where we had that little rectangular pizza, and I'm ready to throw down, and then I look up, and Look at him. So see, I don't know. I don't think he was proud. I was like, I got to do something to shut this dude up. Okay? Anyway, so what I'm encouraging you to do is today, you must run your race. Ain't that right, Lynn? Diva, come on. Ain't that right? You must run your race. You must know what God has put within you, and then you just stay focused on what God's told you to do. So see, it's not a matter of whether or not your critics are going to come. They're going to come, and they're going to talk. Now, like I said, nowadays we call them haters. You're right, Brother Dennis. Let God fight the battles. It's not like a question of whether or not you're going to have some... Man, when you make a decision that you're going to go for the gold, so to speak, or in other words, the dream that God's put in your heart, when you make the decision you're going to go for it, after a while, here come the haters, here come the critics, here come the commentaries, here come the accusations, here come the misunderstanding. All that's coming. It's not a matter of whether or not it's going to come. The question is, are you going to react or respond? See, when you react, that's just like, remember we used to go to the doctor? Well, they still do it now, but I remember particularly as a kid, I was fascinated when you get up in the doctor for the physical, and he had a little hammer with a little triangle-looking pink rubbery thing, and he popped that knee, and your knee pops out. That's a reaction, huh? So see, when somebody says something against you, boom, boom, the tendency is to want to react. Man, somebody say something about your mama. You remember back in the day, somebody say something about your mama. That's fighting words automatically. That's fighting words. Can I get an amen on that? That's fighting words automatically, right? So, but what we're learning and we need to walk in is not to be a reactor, but to be a responder to what people say against us, okay? All right, let me see what else I want to share with you. So I'm encouraging you to continue following the course that God has laid out for you. Now see, if you don't do this, it's kind of like this. I ran track back in the day, and it's kind of like, okay, let's say I'm running the mile. I'm running the mile, and it's a pretty big meet, and we got a lot of folks out there, and we're running all around the track. The mile back in the day was 4, well it still is, 4 laps around. All right, so I'm running with the rest of the guys, probably about 10 guys, and I finally got myself worked up to where I'm in 2nd place. But see, what's happening though, every time I run past this certain group of people, man, they just saying all kind of crazy stuff about me. They telling me, okay, man, you can't run. You run funny. Man, you can't win this race. Look at you. I bet your mama wear combat boots to bed. People say something like that, right? Lord Jesus. Okay, so see, I'm running around, and every time I get around that little section, then they just they're doing all that kind of crazy stuff, right? Well, let's say this. I'm running around, and like I said, I finally got into 2nd place. But I finally say, look at here. We got to stop this stuff. Man, let me just stop and put these people in their place. So I pull off to the side, leaning up against the fence, and man, I'm handling them. I mean, somebody said something like, your mama wear combat boots. And I say, well, your mama, somebody give me a good mama joke. Right here. Well, I can't even think of one right now. Down. But anyway, I respond back, and somebody else says something like this. I bet you about to fail out of school, you know? And then I come back with something else. And somebody else comes back with something. And I'm right on it. I'm like, boom. Somebody say something, boom. I'm like firing away. Only in about a minute or so, I done shut everybody up. Ain't nobody saying nothing. They ain't saying nothing. But guess what happened? I returned back to the race, and the race is over. What? The race is over. Everybody done finished. They lining up for the next race. What happened here? I won the battle, but I lost the war. Are you with me? And see, that's what the critics want. Your haters, they want to get you off of your game and get you attending to their little pettiness so that they can cause that you won't get to where you were so determined and headed to get to. All right? Are you with me on that? I mean, that's really important, and I just wanted to share that with you today. I ain't going to take a lot of your time. I know you're busy today. And I didn't give no advance warning as I was going to come on. But I want you to get that. Man, I tell you what, glory to God. The race that God has set for you, can't nobody else run it. He equipped you to run the race. And so see, you have to run your own race. Don't let, people are going to talk. Don't be hating on them because they're hating on you. I got right now to where I'm focused upon what God has put in my heart to do. If what you're saying is something that's a benefit to me, then we can talk. But if you're just hating, if you're just saying crazy stuff and making lies and all that kind of stuff, guess what? I ain't going to try to shut you up, because I know that critics, that's a part of life. If you're going to pursue something great, that's a part of the package. But what I am going to do is I'm going to refuse to allow myself to go down to your level. I ain't going down there with you. You want to spar, you spar all by yourself. I ain't coming down there. It's kind of like Nehemiah when he was on that wall. And Sanballat and Tobiah and say, look at here. You need to come down here and you need to talk to us. You know. And Nehemiah said, look here. I ain't coming off this wall. I'm going to stay focused on what God gave me to do. Huh? That's how you have to be. Jesus set his face like flint to go to Samaria, right? Huh? That's what we got to do too. Let me see if there's anything else I want to share with you right before we close out. Don't ever feel obligated to give an answer to your critics. Don't ever feel obligated to give an answer to your critics. People say all kind of stuff. They ask all kind of questions. A lot of times people are making statements by the question that they ask. But I learned a little while back, I am under no obligation to answer whatever question a critic poses at me. Huh? Some of them I'll answer. But I don't feel like I got to. Tell the truth, man. Tell the truth. Don't your mama wear combat booster bed? Tell the truth. Don't she wear combat booster bed, Larry? Guess what? I ain't got time for that. I know she don't, but I'm under no obligation to answer my critics. And I want you to be that way too. Because if you're going to get there, if you're going to fulfill what God has called for you to do, you got to realize you're going to have critics, haters, but you got to learn how to respond to them rather than to react to them. Huh? Okay, let's see, was there anything else? I was thinking about this example. Remember Jesus in Matthew chapter 16, Peter said, Jesus started telling them about how he was going to, end up dying and everything for everybody and stuff like that. And Jesus like, look, ho, 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 ho. No, it shall not be, not on my watch. What are you talking about, Jesus? You ain't going to do none of that. Guess what? Jesus recognized that, well, how can I say it? Well, he recognized straight up that the devil was trying to use Peter to get him off of his game. And he rebuked Peter. He said, get behind me, Satan. He gave him a hard time on that thing, right? We got to be the same way. We have to recognize when somebody's comment or whatever or question is something that's designed either by them or maybe the devil's flowing through them, designed to try to get you to stop your focus and stop moving forward and go in a different direction. Huh? All right? Well, glory to God. Well, look at here. I like that. Dennis, you said, never fuss with a fool. It just makes you one too. Oh, Lord Jesus. That chapter and verse, that sounds like that should be in the Bible. Well, it is something that's similar in the Bible to that where it talks about, what does it say? Argue with a foolish man, you get yourself a blot. Well, glory to God. So even in Proverbs 14:9, go from the presence of a foolish man when you perceive not in him the lips of knowledge. Oh, thank you. So see, it's a wrap. I'm going to stay focused. I'm going to run my race. How about you? Huh? All right, I think that's it. Let me see here. Oh, okay. When they say you're not going to do it or you can't do it, don't stop and try to reason with them that you can, about how you can. See, because realize they're playing on their field. They're trying to get you on their home turf. But this is what you do. Just aim at the achievement of your objective. And let your success answer your critics. Huh? Ain't that good? They trying to tell you can't do it. Your daddy couldn't do it. You can't do it, man. You like all this. No, you ain't gotta say nothing. You just keep on focused on your goal. You go ahead and achieve, and then your success will answer your critics. Okay. All right. I'm gonna leave you with that. I told you I was gonna keep this thing short and doggone. I don't know how long we've been, but anyway, God bless you. I love to hear from you. Leave me a comment or something like that. And I want to also mention, as I'm about to close, that I want to encourage y'all. I got a podcast. That I want you to tune into. If you have an iPhone, it's easy. The little podcast app that automatically comes on your iPhone, look me up. I got a podcast. It's an audio podcast, and it's called 5-Minute Inspirations. Okay, so 5 with the number 5, and then minute, and then inspirations is spelled with a Z on the end instead of an S. Look me up in the iTunes store, podcast. Or you can put my name in, Larry Hunter. And also, if you have an Android device and you just have some kind of app that plays podcasts, search for me. 5-Minute Inspirations, okay? Or Larry Hunter. And you'll be blessed, okay? God bless you. And I want you to have a wonderful day. And remember this always, as we close, in Him, you win. All right, we'll see you soon.